and it is also expected to grow by almost 20%. So on the organized side, the market is in excess of 3.5 lakh crores. I would suggest one should go for a floating rate because if you look at, we don't foresee the rates going up in near future, maybe at 25 bips here and there, but we don't foresee it happening so quick. And hence, I would suggest to make the most of the benign rates, one should go for a floating rate of interest.
Hello and welcome to Invest Talk, an initiative by ICICI Direct. It's a webinar that gives you information on the new and relevant financial products to guide you and make you a better investor. Today, we'll talk about loans. I have with me Mr. Satyam Anand, Head Asset Products, ICICI Direct. Welcome, Mr. Anand.
Thank you, Gitu. Thank you so much. So I'll just give a brief, and before that, I would like to share as if we talk about the industry on the loan side, how does ICICI Securities placed into that? So it's very, very clear that any consumer, any customer has three needs on the financial side. If you look at one, would certainly be investments. Then you have protection, and the third, which is very, very important, is the borrowing needs of the client. Right, that's very important. And hence, as a company, we thought that we should offer a 360-degree support to our customers, not only on investments and protection, but also on the lending side. So we should be present, addressing the client's borrowing requirement, across the spectrum of requirements he has. And hence, ICICI Securities, as a team, we have taken borrowing requirement as one of the major ways we can help our customers fulfill their requirements on the loan side. Now, talking about the industry, to start with, if I talk about the loans in terms of the real estate, that's around roughly 55,000 crores a month. That's the disbursement that happens on the housing side and the LAP and the LRD side, which is loan against property and the lease rental discounting. Now, if you talk about this, banks would have almost 65% share, and the rest around 30%, 35% would be with the NBFCs. But with this pandemic, there is a slight shift. So today, I would say bank would be around 75% plus, and NBFCs would be around 20-25%. That would be the mix. It's a very large industry, and around of the overall book, if I talk about 25 lakh crore is with banking, and around 10 lakh crore would be with the NBFC. So that's also very large space to look at. And if we look at the total piece in terms of disbursements, month on month, how it is progressing. So initially in the first quarter, it was a hit. April, May, June was almost a whitewash. It slowly started, picking up shape, in the second quarter. And as the government came up with, unlock 1, 2, 3, it started picking up. And Q3 onwards, it started doing well. Things are in place. And if you look at the overall market in terms of the real estate, it has done really well. And especially Q3 was very good for the industry. Q4, they have done the ever highest numbers. So if I just give you some, figures to put it in perspective, so all these listed developers, if you look at Lodha has sold Q3 results. If I talk about, they sold around 2,500 worth crores of property. around 1,000 units on the luxury side, and around in excess of 1,500 on the affordable segment. If I talk about Brigade from South, they did around 55% overall growth in terms of number of units and value. If I give you, a little peek into Shobha developers, across their projects, they had an average growth from 27% to 80% growth across, their projects. So overall, the industry did well, the banks did well. If I just to put in perspective, last month's figures, if I discuss with you, ICICI Bank did, these are approximate figures, to put in perspective. ICICI Bank did around 11,000 crores, HDFC in excess of 12,000, SBI did 14,500, Axis this 8,000 crores, Kotak did 2,000 plus crores. So this itself, if you talk about, is around 40 to 43,000 crores. Now look at the size, and look at the momentum. All developers doing well, and hence the loans doing well. So overall, it did well. Also, as I said that initially, as I started the discussion, that our MD's vision is very, very clear. We want to be very strongly present, for our customers across the 360-degree spectrum, where, apart from investments and the protection, loans forms a major part. So as ICICI Securities, we are do a major thrust and push is to leverage the market in terms of helping our customers on the real estate side. But we have different loans to suit the client's needs. So whether it is on the car loans, whether it is business loans, we talk about credit card, personal loans, gold loans, across the spectrum we offer. And if you look at the trend has been same. In the first quarter, everybody had taken a hit across all these loans. It was a hit, and lenders were quite wary. Once it started slightly opening up to lend, and they were having the seconds thought. And once things started getting into place, and it started becoming, yes, the pandemic is there to stay. We have to learn how to cope up with it. It is going to stay for long, and business has to carry on as usual. It started picking up pace. So to share some numbers with you, if you talk about car sales, four-wheeler sales, it has started touching almost close to 3 lakhs, and there's been a growth, across consecutively last 7 months. Every month they were growing, and I think almost last month it was around 2.9 lakh units to be sold, in excess of that. In fact, if you look at two-wheelers, they've done well. It is already touching 14.5 lakh units a month. If you look at business loans, had picked up well. Gold loan is doing really well, because that's one thing that has really done well in this market, especially because we all know that seeking a loan, a very important thing that comes as one of the major considerations would be the credit history, the financial history of the client, and hence the bureau scores plays a very, very major role in deciding whether to extend the loan and to extend at what rate. That plays a major role. And especially in pandemic, what happened is that there were moratoriums, some people missed the payments and all that happened. And hence, gold loan becomes a very, very important source of funds, at this point in time. And it is used as a bridge loan in a lot of ways. Because that's one place where nobody will ask you for your financial history. It's basis the underlying asset is gold. You'll have a valuer who look at the gold and put a value to it, and basis that they would look at 75% to 80%. Even the government has intervened. Earlier it used to be lesser. So there you can avail a loan. So all these taken together, all these on the loan side, last 2 quarters were really, really good. But yes, we all know the pandemic is back, and it has really hit very hard. And it's been last 1 month. We can see cases rising, but I believe we are very positive. I believe with all approvals coming for different vaccines available now, even today it was there in the papers that the rates have been fixed for the hospitals can buy directly, and from 1st May it would be start. People above 18 years would be able to go and get the vaccine. I think that will all maybe a few months down the line. Things would be in control, and business will again start doing well. I think that's about in terms of giving you a little putting a perspective on the loans business for us.
Now, Mr. Anand, we just spoke about all the product mix that you offer as far as the loans are concerned. Which vertical do you expect to do better now that the COVID has hit again, and you yourself have been saying that it is here to stay for another couple of months? So, which vertical in terms of loan is going to do better, and why?
If I talk about which vertical is going to do well, so there are I see 4 5 categories of loans really doing well. I see, yes, gold loans, I said, will continue to do well, and it is also expected to grow by almost 20%. So on the organized side, the market is in excess of 3.5 lakh crores. And I think a slightly bigger market would be also on the unorganized side. The data is not available for the unorganized side. So it is expected to grow by 2022 to 4.12 lakh crore. So that is there. Because definitely there'll be some businesses that would take a hit, uh, and hence the need for money. And once I think the gold would be a savior there, so that will continue to do well. If I talk about the housing, real estate loans, housing loans, and all, it could be slightly slow, maybe a month or so. But then, if I see, with this lockdown and with pandemic becoming a way of life, and even the companies looking into the remote work, for their the teams and the employees, I believe that house becomes a very important decision today, and that's the reason why it is showing up in the sales of the of number of units that is being sold. A lot of people are now, it is no more required, especially in large cities like Bombay, Delhi, where people used to prefer to stay near to their workplace so that don't waste so much of time traveling. These days, if you look at, we've seen that people are willing to relocate, move at distance from their place of work, look at slightly larger space, own their own space, and even once it resumes, that 6 day reporting to office will come slightly later,
Yes.
and hence people today don't mind going to office once or twice a week. And hence, if you see, the demand for housing has really picked up. Affordable housing is doing very well. If you look at the overall total demand, if you look at 48% almost on the affordable segment. Now it will differ, on the cities. In Mumbai you can take up to 50 lakhs. Maybe in tier 2 cities you can take up to maybe 21 to 35 lakhs. And supported with this, you see government has taken a lot of steps to support it also. Because if you talk about the industry, it is one of the largest employers, after agriculture, the real estate. And it is expected that this would contribute around 13% of the total GDP by 2025. And hence, we saw leading, why this sales went up. So across the country, you saw the state governments giving a relaxation on the stamp duty. Maharashtra government from 5% went to 3%, so there was 2% saving there. Then they raised it by 1%, and recently, April onwards, they moved to again pre-COVID levels of 5% on the registration piece. Now that was there. Since house, if you buy a house, that's a large investment for everyone, and hence 2-3% saving is a big saving. If you talk about a crore, you save 2-3 lakh, 4 lakh rupees on that. Plus, this was very well aided, by lot of schemes coming from the builders. So we've never seen schemes like you pay 10% now, another 10% maybe after 6 months, and the rest entire once you move it into the house, right? So those flexible schemes coming up, parking free, registration free, all those, there was a lot of flexibility there that coming up. And to top all of this, if you look at exactly 1 year back, the housing interest rate was around 8%. Today it has gone down to 6.7, 6.8%, to in certain cases 6.65%. Now that has this is very very clear that this is, if you look at it in decades, this is one of the lowest rates, and hence the affordability. Now all this has helped in the overall bull push, and that has started doing well, and hence I see this with this pandemic coming back, and we've also started seeing the migration of laborers taking place. So finally everybody knows things has to come back to normal, and hence we all foresee that definitely this will continue. Governments will definitely take steps in terms of helping the industry, being the largest employer and having a sizable contribution to the GDP. The rates, I believe, would remain benign, since overall, looking at the state of the economy, increasing rates too much, I think it will deter people from borrowing, and hence the economic activity could be affected, and hence I don't see that happening. And definitely the number of inventory still remains, across the cities, still remains high. So builders would be pushing, for sales. This will continue to do well, the housing sales. However, I also see a loan against properties and this LRD also doing well. Because if you have a property and you're a owner of the property, why not take a loan against the property if it is required, because any other form of loan would be slightly expensive. You will have a lesser time frame to repay back, and hence the EMIs would be high. And on the LAP side, you can take a 15-year loan. The pressure to repay back would be lower, your EMI could be lower, and you'll have that comfort. So I see that picking up. Personal mobility, people will certainly prefer, and hence we've seen, with initial auto sales was such in such bad shape in the first 2-3 months, April, May, June, and hence it rebounded, because personal mobility became one of the most crucial parameters. Everybody wanted to have their own vehicle, because if you share, if you're public transport, you have that fear that you might catch COVID. So that will do well.
Yeah, it's not really buy any. Now, if somebody really wants to invest and buy a property, what kind of a loan should he opt for? Should it be a fixed loan or a floating loan?
Okay, so if you talk about today's scenario, I would suggest one should go for a floating rate, because if you look at we don't foresee the rates going up in near future, maybe a 25 bips here and there, but we don't foresee it happening so quick. And hence, I would suggest to make the most of the benign rates, one should go for a floating rate of interest. Because if you opt for a fixed rate of interest, uh, you know, it will not come at the same rate. Now it depends. There is a process. So if you take a 2-year fixed and then floating, or a 5-year fixed and then floating, or a 10-year fixed, the rates will go up accordingly. And hence one should go for a floating rate. Once you see the trajectory clear, you can always go back and opt for a fixed rate of interest. But at this point in time, I would suggest that one should look at a floating rate of interest.
What are the positives of taking a loan? Even if I have a surplus money lying with me, does it make sense to make part payment and then opt for a loan?
Now it depends. You want to buy an outright purchase, having 100% of the money and using cash, or you want to take a loan. So it will depend on a lot of other factors. It will depend on the age, because you need to have the right age to borrow. Banks for a salaried customer would not give loans beyond the age of 60. For a business, not beyond 70 years. If you look at, so it depends on the age. It depends on the situation. It depends on what is the objective. Is investment an objective, or it is buying for your own consumption? It also depends what is your status at that point in time. So uh, taking a loan or giving an outright purchase, I would say that there's a lot of planning that goes behind when you buy a house, because definitely it's a large investment, and most of the times barring a small percentage, if you look at it, forms almost close to 50-60% of the overall income of a family. you know and hence I would say, at this point in time, if I talk about when the rates are at its rock bottom, when the such flexible schemes are there, and also discounts are available, I think we should make use of this benign rates which is available, and take it from a lender. However, I would like to add a few points here. Uh, that so Here again the question comes, a very very important questions to consider, while deciding, is whether when you're looking at whether to hunt for a house first, or to plan a loan first. No, because that is there in your mind. Your budget is around, say a crore, or a 50 lakh, or a 30 lakh. Then you first hunt for a house and go for a loan. So I believe this is something important, and our clients, I would like, and I would want them to plan it this way, because it helps to first plan your loan first once you've decided that this is your budget, because very very clear, because when you go to a lender, we don't know that our loan will get approved or not, right? First thing is that. Second, when we are going, we know this is the prevalent rate, the best rates are this. So when we go to when we apply, we don't know at what rate we'll get. So 6.7, if we talk about, which is a comparative rate today, I don't know whether if I go and ask for a loan, if I need a loan, I will get 6 points. Depending on the score, depending on my financial history, a lot of things will come. Also, if my spouse is earning, right, we'll be able to leverage. If we take under section 24, we'll be able to have 2 lakh as interest would be saved. That will be considered as a deduction.
Right.
Another 1.5 lakh on the interest would be saved under ATC. So why not? And if it's a self occupied property and you have a working spouse, both of you can avail this, so that will help. And hence, all this planning, first deciding a loan, depending on the status, depending on your situation, you can decide. On a normal, general question, if I have to answer, I would say, looking at the situation, the rates, and everything, I think we should go for a loan from a lending institution.
Mr. Anand, the current scenario that we are going through, the work from home has become a new culture which is here to stay for long. So will this also support, buying, it will give a boost to the demand for a home?
Yeah, certainly, certainly. If you look at precisely, that's the reason why uh, the sales in housing has really really picked up, because people are looking at their own. So they want to. If you look at today's, especially the Gen Z, what you call the young buyers, if you talk about the propensity to spend is very very high. They don't think twice. Once they want to do something, they just go all out and look at it. Also, if you look at especially housing is not something like that, because there's a lot of planning, as I initially said, that it's a large investment. If you look at today, since you are in your house 24 by 7, right? You're in your house 24 by 7. So you need, so, and there's a lot of uncertainty, coupled with this COVID. If you're in a rented house, whether I'll be able to, continue if something happens, I'm not able to pay, and all that comes. So I would say that in this the housing sales will pick up. People will move to maybe further locations from their workplace. Look at a larger space. Hence the demand for larger space. They look at larger space because in a family of 3 and 4 today, if you have maybe a 650 square feet of house, it becomes very very, you really understand when you're there 24 by 7, the need for larger space works out, and hence the affordability comes into play. Now, with rates being there, with schemes available, across the cities and the states, uh, the space, the need for larger houses has really come to the fore, and people are demanding, and people are looking at it. They are, the option is there. So we see a lot of queries coming for a one bedroom, and then when they talk about and discuss about the rates, the EMIs and all that, they plan together, and then there is a large population which is shifting to two bedroom. And also, if you talk about, in terms of first time buyers, where they're looking at maybe a one bedroom of maybe 650 or 750 square feet, I think it makes sense to invest right now, because the rates are also very competitive, not only in terms of loans, even in terms of the price. Because when the rates are yeah, when the market is open and there's huge demand, that, and everything is open, consumer have that confidence, and hence it's all about demand and supply. You see the rates will catch up. Today, if you look at an average property rate is around 15% down, right? So if you invest today, and it is your first home, maybe tomorrow, when you have to move to a two bedroom, probably you can sell this, get the money, and move to a two bedroom, maybe a two, move to a three bedroom, depending on that, on the requirement.
How does the process work actually?
Oh, how the
If I,
process of, yeah. So it's simple. Once you decide that you have to take, for that matter, any loan, but let me explain it, through a home loan. That's a large loan, and that's we've been discussing majorly. So if I talk about a home loan, first and foremost, you will have the application form of the lender that you'll be able to fill in all your details. Once that is there, then the submission of the form, and the related documents, the supporting documents has to be submitted. That's the second step. It's a 7 stage process, and then once that is there, then you have to pay the processing fee. That's important. The processing fee, once the processing fee is paid, then the processing of the file and the documents start. Verification starts. Once that is done, then the sanction comes, and once your loan is sanctioned, then at that point in time that I have been sanctioned this amount of loan at this rate for this period at this MI. So we have that clarity. And post that, the legal and the technical verification starts. So the title of the property, the legalities, the technical aspects, the all that is triggered, is looked into it, and once all that is clear, then comes the last step. You go ahead and you get the disbursements, and you're ready to look at your dream home come true. So that's how the process is simple. Yes, but I would definitely look at people to understand that the financial behavior of the client is very very important. So any outstanding, maybe 4 5 years back, you settled a credit card, you made a delayed payment, there was check bounce, all that will have bearing on the amount, on the interest rate, before you get from the final okay from the lender. So all this, hence, people should be careful, should try and see the payment is not missed. It is done on time. The settlement doesn't happen. I think that will help you getting the best of the rates and the required amount of loan.
Thank you, Mr. Anand, for being with us. It was a beautiful insight into how to really get loans for the properties and auto and gold. We'll have a detailed, we'll try to have a detailed discussion on gold loan also, which is really preferred by people these days. Thank you for your insight and thank you.
Yeah. So before I say thank you, I would just like to add another point here for our viewers and clients. As I initially said, why ICICI Securities, and how does it figure out on the loan side? As I said, that our objective is very clear, to offer our clients a 360-degree, support in terms of the requirement of the client, which is investment, which is definitely, the insurance, which is protection, and the lending. If you look at, we want to be a market player, a marketplace, and hence, as a company, we have around 9 lenders with us, and we have chosen these lenders very, very clearly to address the clients in every segment. So whether it's an HNI, whether it is an affordable segment, whether it is the first time buyer, whether it is a loan against a property, we want to help our customers across their lending requirements, and hence we have more choices to offer with different lenders, more schemes to offer customized loans, and whatever could be a requirement on the lending side. ICICI Securities would be able to help you, in the shortest possible time, in the best way, giving you definitely, the benefit of the best rates, but also a higher approval rate.
Okay.
Because with various 8 9 lenders, we will our team is almost, if you look at the lending team that we have, across 12, and we have added another five cities, so 17 18 top cities of the country, where we have around 100 people placed who are experts in lending. These guys they have an average experience of 5 to 8 years, doing these loans, and hence, when there is a requirement, looking at the customer profile, discussing with the customer, we'll be able to know that for this customer, I think the best suited would be this lender, because these kinds of loans, the strength of this lender is this segment, the strength of this lender is this segment, and hence we'll be able to put you at the right lender, give you the right suggestion, the best of the rates, and hence, extending a 360-degree support, help for our clients. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Anand, for being with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.